Hello friends, welcome to today's lesson. In today's lesson, we'll be learning word problems leading to linear equations. If you are new to this channel, please like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you can be notified automatically whenever a new video is released. Word problems. In solving word problems, all you need to do is to choose a letter to represent the number required. Example. Let's say we have an example where 1/4 of a number is 5 and we are asked to find the number. We can start by saying let the number be an alphabet, say Y for example. So from the question they said 1/4 of a number is 5. 1/4 could be written as a fraction as 1 divided by 4. The off in the question is the off we have here, and the number is what we have taken as letter Y. Is 5 could be interpreted as being equals to 5. Now in mathematics, we convert the word of to multiplication. So 1/4 of y could simply be written as 1/4 times y. And in mathematics, when you have fractions like this to multiply, you can multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. In other words, y is the same thing as y divided by 1. So y can multiply 1 to give us y, and the 1 at the denominator can multiply 4 to give us 4. So 1/4 times y equals to 5 is the same thing as saying y divided by 4 is equals to 5. Okay, so y divided by 4 equals to 5 is the same thing as saying y divided by 4 is equals to 5/1. The reason why we have written over 1 here is just to show that if this is a fraction to the left hand side of this equation, we could also write the right hand side in form of a fraction. So 5 is the same thing as 5 divided by 1. So at this point in time, we are trying to get the value of y. So at this stage in mathematics, what we do is to cross multiply. When you cross multiply, it simply means that the numerator of this fraction will multiply the denominator of this fraction. The numerator of this fraction will multiply the denominator of this fraction. That is what it means to cross multiply. In other words, y times 1 will give us y, the equality sign will remain, then 4 times 5 will give us 20. So y is equal to 20. It simply means that 1/4 of 20 is equals to 5. And it all makes sense because when we divide 20 by 4, we will have a 5. Okay, another example. When a number is multiplied by 28, the result is 700. Find the number. In order to solve this problem, we can start by saying let the number be an alphabet, say X or Y or any other alphabet of our choice. So we could say let the number be Y. So all we need to do is to interpret what the question has said. The question said when a number is multiplied by 28, the result is 700. We've already said let the number be y. So when the number, which is y, is multiplied by 28, is same thing as saying y times 28. The result is 100, is 700. Simply means we can say the result of multiplying y and 28 is equals to 700. So when you have y times 28, it's the same thing as saying 28 times y, and that will leave you with 28y. Okay? At this stage in mathematics, in order for us to get our variable, which is y in this case, we will have to say divide both sides by the coefficient of y. The coefficient of y is the number that is frozen with letter y. So we'll have to divide both sides by what? 28. So by the time we divide both sides by the coefficient of y, that will leave us with 28y being divided by 28 equals to 700 divided by 28. So when 28 cancels out 28, we'll be left with y. And when 28 divides 700, we'll have 25. It simply means that 25 is the required number that we are asked to find. Another example. A man spent 30% of his salary on house rent, and this amounts to 6,000 naira. How much is his salary? Just like the previous examples, we could start by saying let his salary be y naira. I'm using naira because I'm from Nigeria and naira is my currency. You can as well use your currency in place of naira, as it will all make sense at the end of the day. Alright, so since the question said that a man spends 30% of his salary on rent and this amounts to 6,000 naira, and we said let the salary be Y, it simply means that he spends 30% of Y, which is his salary, on rent, and this amounted to what? 6,000. So this is the mathematical way of representing the word problem we have in this example number 3. Alright, so in mathematics, 30% simply means 30 over 100. The off remains the off we have here, and Y remains the Y we have here, and 6,000 is the same 6,000 we have here. The next thing we'll have to do is to change this off to multiplication. And when we change it to multiplication, we have 30 over 100 times Y equals to 6,000. When 30 multiplies Y, we'll have 30Y divided by, we can as well make the Y to be a fraction by writing over 1. It still has not changed anything. It's just to make it clearer. So when 30 multiplies Y, we have 30Y. When 100 multiplies 1, we'll have 100 on the left hand side. So 30 times Y is 30Y. 100 times 1 is 100. The equality sign remains. Then we have 6,000 over 1. Alright, at this stage in mathematics, in order for you to get your unknown, which is our Y, we will have to cross multiply. Okay, so 30Y times 1 will be equals to 100 times 6,000. So on cross multiply, 30Y times 1 will give us 30Y equals to 6,000 times 100 will give us 600,000. Okay, so at this stage in mathematics, in order for you to get your variable, which is Y in this case, you will have to divide both sides by the coefficient of Y, which is 30 in this case. Alright, so we divide both sides by the coefficient of Y, which is 30. So 30Y divided by 30 is equal to 600,000 divided by 30. So when 30 cancels 30, we have Y to the left hand side, and when 30 divides 600,000, we'll have 20,000. So it therefore means that the man's salary is 20,000 naira. Another example, a man is 4 times as old as his son. In 5 years' time, he will be 3 times as old. What are their ages right now? So just like the previous examples, we can start by saying let the son's age be m years old. Okay, so if the son's age is m years old and the question has already told us that a man is 4 times as old, it simply means we can say that the father's age is 4 times m, giving us 4m years old. We have just succeeded in interpreting the first part of the word problem. We'll be moving to the second part, which says that in 5 years' time, if I am 4 years old now, for example, in 5 years' time, you can guess what will happen to my age. My age would have been 4 plus 5 years old. In other words, I would have been 9 years old. I will be 9 years old in 5 years' time. So the same rule will apply. So if the son's age is m years old now, in 5 years' time, his age will be 5 years. 5 years what? 5 years more than what his age is right now. So in 5 years' time, the son's age will be m plus 5. Just the same way my age will be 9 if I was 4 years old right now. Okay, so if the son's age is m plus 5, it simply means that in that same 5 years' time, the father's age, which is 4m as of this moment, will become what? 4m plus 5. So in 5 years' time, the father's age will be 4m plus 5. We can decide to call this equation 1. Note, it was also said that the father will be 3 times as old. Take note that in 5 years' time, the father will be 3 times as old. It simply means in 5 years' time, this will be the father's age. At the same time, the father will be what? 3 times as old as the son. In other words, we can also say that the father will be m plus 5 times 3. So father's age is also 3 times son's age. So if son's age is m plus 5, it simply means we can as well say that the father's age is also 3 times m plus 5. Okay, multiplication, brackets simply means multiplication, so we can remove the multiplication sign here to have 3 into brackets m plus 5. We can call this equation 2. Since equation 1 and 2 are the father's age, we can equate them. What this simply means is this. Ordinarily, in 5 years' time, the father will be 4m plus 5 years old. But since we were given another hint that the father will be 3 times as old as the son, these will be the ages of the father in 5 years' time. Since we are talking about the same person, we are talking about his age in 5 years' time, and they have given us 2 different scenarios which equals his age in 5 years' time, simply means we can equate 4m plus 5 and what? 3m plus 5. So we now have 4m plus 5 equals to 3 into bracket m plus 5. All we have to do here right now is to use this 3 to expand this bracket by using 3 to multiply m plus 5. Okay, so when 3 multiplies m, we have 3m. That's 3 times m giving us 3m. Then 3 times 5 will give us 15. So at this point in time, we'll have to collect like terms. If you are having issues with collecting like terms, divide both sides by coefficient of our variable we are looking for, cross multiplying, you can check the videos on my playlist where I made tutorials that regards that. So without wasting much time, we'll collect like terms. 4m is already on our left hand side, so 3m will come over to the left hand side to marry up with 4m. Then plus 5 will come over to the right hand side to marry up with 15. Alright, so by collecting like terms, plus 3m will become minus 3m and plus 5 will become minus 5. 4m minus 3m is 1m, but in mathematics you don't like writing 1 as a coefficient. 15 minus 5 is 10, so therefore m will be equals to 10. This simply means that the son's age is 10 years and the father's age, which we were told that he was 4 times as old, will become 40 years old. So these are their present ages, just as we have been asked to find from the question. Alright, so number 5, we have a question which says that the sum of 3 consecutive numbers is 36, that we should find the numbers. In order to solve this particular problem, we'll have to understand this word consecutive. When you understand this word consecutive, it helps you in solving the problem. Consecutive simply means things that naturally follow themselves one after the other. Okay, so take for example, we have number 5. The next consecutive number to number 5 is 6, and the next consecutive number is 7. If we have, let's say, number 18, the next consecutive number is 19, the next consecutive number is 20. It therefore means that we can start by saying let the first consecutive number be x or y or any other alphabet of your choice. So if the first consecutive number is x, it therefore means that the second consecutive number will be 1 added to the first consecutive number. It therefore means that the second consecutive number will be what? X plus 1. If the second consecutive number is x plus 1, the third consecutive number will be what? X plus 2. In case you are in doubt, let's use 7 as an example. If the first consecutive number is 7, the second consecutive number will be 7 plus 1, which will give you 8. And the second consecutive number will be what? The third consecutive number will be 7 plus 2, which will give you 9. So back to our case, let the first number be x. This therefore means that the second number will be x plus 1 and the third number will be x plus 2. In the question, we are told that the sum of these 3 consecutive numbers would give us 36. Remember, in mathematics, the word sum simply means addition. This simply means that by the time we add the first consecutive number with the second consecutive number with the third consecutive number, we should have 36. Alright, So sum of the three will be x plus 1 plus x plus 2 equals 36. By opening up this bracket, we will have x plus 1 plus x plus 2 equals 36. So by rearranging in the sense that since we have our variables x, and x, we can bring them together. And since we have constants 1 and 2, we can bring them together. Mind you, I'm not collecting like terms right now. I'm just rearranging. It simply means there is nothing from this expression that will be crossing over to the right hand side for now. That is the reason why I'm using the word rearranging. I did not say collect like terms, okay? So when we rearrange, we can bring all the x together on one side, bring all the numbers, which are also referred to as constants, to one other side on the left hand side. Okay, so we now have this x, which is this x, this x, which is this x has been brought to this place, plus 1 has been brought down here, then plus 2 has been brought down here. These are equality sign equals to 6. So x plus x plus x, remember there's an invisible 1 behind all this x. It's the same thing as saying 1x plus 1x plus 1x, that will give us 3x. Then 1 plus 2 will give us 3. So 3x plus 3 equals to 36. At this point in time, we'll have to collect like terms because we have a number here which is a constant. We also have another number here which is a constant. So plus 3 we cross over to the right hand side and to become minus 3 in order to collect like terms. By collecting like terms, we will have 3x giving us 36 minus 3. So 3x equals 36 minus 3 will give us 33. So at this stage in mathematics, all you have to do is to divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is 3 in this case. So by dividing both sides by the coefficient of x, we divide the left hand side by 3, divide the right hand side by 3. So when 3 divides 3, it will give us x. When 3 divides 33, it will leave us with 11. This therefore means that the first consecutive number is 11. The second will be what? 11 plus 1, which will be 12. The third will be what? 11 plus 2, which will be what? 13. So this means that the first number is 11. The second number is 11 plus 1, which is 12. And the third number is 11 plus 2, which is 13. Therefore, the numbers are 11, 12, and 13. You can see how beautiful that is, right? And you can see that 11, 12, and 13 are what? Consecutive numbers. Alright. Now let's check to even see whether our answer is correct. Remember that the question said that when you add up the consecutive numbers you are looking for, you should have what? 36, right? Now let's see whether we'll get 36 by adding up 11, 12, and 13. Alright. When you add up 11, 12, and 13, you will see that you have 36. So this simply shows that whenever you solve a problem in mathematics, especially linear equations, simultaneous equations, you should be able to check your answers to be sure that you are correct. Okay, now moving on. We have another question here which says that when 1/3 of a number is added to 4/5 of itself, the result is 17. Find the number. So as usual, we can say let the number be x, okay? So 1/3 of the number simply means 1/3 of x. And 4/5 of the number as given in the question simply means 4/5 of x. By adding the numbers, why am I adding the numbers? Because the question said when 1/3 of a number is added. I'm just reinterpreting what we have been given in the word problem. So the word added here is prompting me to add this 1/3 of x with this 4/5 of x and equate it to 17 because the question said the result is 17, okay? So it simply means 1/3 of x plus 4/5 of x equals 17. In mathematics, of means times, hence the reason why I've changed the word of to times, okay? In mathematics, 1 times x will give us x, 4 times x will give us x. That's the reason why we now have x, which is same thing as 1x, but we don't write 1 as coefficient in mathematics. We now have x over 3 plus 4x over 5 equals 17. So I have brought back the same equation here so that we can have a clear understanding. We had over 17 in the previous page, so I've added divided by 1 so that we can have all fractions. When you have the number, a whole number, and you want to convert it to a fraction, you can just put divided by 1. So we now have fractions. So what do we do at this stage? We learned this in our simple way of solving linear equations in one of the videos we have done before now. So one of the simplest way of solving a problem like this is to find the LCM of the denominators, after which you multiply through or multiply the left hand side and the right hand side by the LCM you have gotten. In other words, we'll have to find the LCM of 3, 5 and 1. When you find the LCM of 3, 5 and 1, the result will be 15. The next step is to multiply through by 15. Multiplying through by 15 simply means multiply all what you have on the left hand side and all what you have on the right hand side by 15. As we can see, 15 is already multiplying x over 3. That's the reason why we now have 15 into bracket x over 3, plus 15 is multiplying 4x over 5, and the reason why we now have 15 into bracket 4x plus 4x over 5, and 15 is also multiplying 17 over 1, hence the reason why we have 15 into bracket 17 divided by 1. So if this is the case, we can see that 3 can cancel 15 to give us 5 here, 5 can cancel 15 to give us 3 here, 1 into 15 will still give us 15. Okay, so 3 into 15 is 5, 5 into 15 is 3, 1 into 15 is 15, 15 times 17 will give us 255. Alright, so since brackets means multiplication, this simply means 5 times x, that will give us 5x, plus 3 times 4x will give us 12x, equals to 225. Alright, 5x plus 12x will give us 17x. We now have 17x equals to 255. At this stage in mathematics, you'll have to divide both sides by the coefficient of x. So by dividing both sides by the coefficient of x, which is 17, we have 17 dividing the left hand side, and we have 17 dividing the right hand side. When 17 cancels 17, we'll have our x, and when 17 divides 255, we will have 15. It therefore means that the number we are looking for is 15. Alright, this is another example. This question says that Jane bought 2 books for 30 naira. How much would she buy 4 books? This question is assuming that the books you are talking about are the same books. When it comes to a question like this, you will have to start by writing out the parameters. 2 books were bought for 30 naira. You can write it in a very simple format like this. Now, we are talking about 4 books. We don't know how much it will cost, hence the reason why we have put an alphabet here. I've used Y in this case. You can use any alphabet of your choice. Understand that this is a direct relationship. Direct relationship in the sense that as the number of books are increasing, the amount with which you buy the books have to increase. So when you get your Y and it gives you any value that is below 30, know that there is a problem somewhere. If 2 books cost 30 naira, 4 books is expected to cost higher than 30 naira. So when you have an expression like this, you are going to cross multiply. Okay? Again, cross multiply. In other words, 2 times y will give us 4 times 30. Okay? So 2 times y will give us what? 4 times 30. So 2 times y is 2y equals to 4 times 30 is 120. So at this stage in mathematics, what we do is to divide both sides by the coefficient of y. We now have 2y divided by 2 equals to 120 divided by 2. So when 2 cancels 2, it will leave us with y. When 2 cancels 120, we will have 60. Therefore, the 4 books would cost 60 naira. Another example, if 50 apples are sold for 3,000 naira, how much would 5 apples be sold at the same rate? 50 apples were sold for 3,000 naira. 5 apples will be sold for y naira. So just like before, we'll cross multiply. Okay, we will now have 50 times y equals to 5 times 3,000. So 50 times y is 50y. 5 times 3,000 is what? 15,000. In order to get y, we divide both sides by the coefficient of y. So 50y divided by 50 equals to 15,000 divided by 50. When 50 cancels 50, we'll have y. When 50 divides 15,000, we have 300. Therefore, 5 apples will be sold, or 5 apples would cost 300 naira. You can see 50 apples are more, they cost 3,000 naira. 5 apples are less, they cost 300 naira. So this is why it's also a direct relationship. As one parameter increases, the other increases. As one parameter decreases, the other decreases. But take note of this next example. If 3 men dug a well in 6 days, how many days would 2 men working at the same rate dig the same well? Now, there is something peculiar about this question. Whenever you see a question that has to do with people doing work within a specified timing, the relationship is inverse. Okay, inverse in the sense that the more men you have, the lesser time it will take to complete the job. Okay, so we'll first of all start by writing out the parameters, because they said 3 men dug the well for 6 days and 2 men will dig it for y number of days, which you don't know. So when you have a problem like this, you write it out just like the previous examples. But take note, you will not cross multiply this way, because it's not a direct relationship, it's an inverse relationship. As such, you will multiply like this. Multiply in the horizontal direction simply means 3 will multiply 6 equals to 2 multiply y, or if you like, you can say 2 multiply y equals to 3 multiply 6, okay? So we'll now have 2 times y, which is what we have on the left hand side, equals to 3 times 6, okay? 2 times y is equals to 3 times 6 is what? 18. So at this stage in mathematics, you divide both sides by the coefficient of y. We will now have y equals to 9. It therefore means that 2 men would dig the well in 9 days. As you can see, the number of men have reduced, the number of days to do the work, or the time to do the work, has what? Increased. The same thing applies to this next question. 5 men cultivated a piece of land in 8 days. How many men will do the same work in 4 days? Now let's write out the parameters. 5 men did the work in 8 days. Y number of men that we are looking for will do it in 4 days. We are looking for what? Remember, this is not a direct relationship where you cross multiply. Rather, it's an inverse relationship where you multiply in the horizontal direction. It therefore means you say y times 4 or 4 times y equals to 5 times 8. We now have 4 times y equals to 5 times 8. 4 times y is equals to 5 times 8 is what? 40. At this stage, you have to divide both sides by the coefficient of y. Okay, so 4y divided by 4 will be equals to 40 divided by 4. When 4 cancels 4, we'll have y. When 4 divides 40, we'll have 10. This therefore means that 10 men would be required to cultivate the same piece of land in 4 days. Alright, you can try the following. You can leave your answers in the comment section. If there is any part of this class tutorial that you don't understand, you can feel free by leaving your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you can be notified automatically when new lessons are released. Thank you for listening. Till we meet again.